We have good reason for humility. It's a feeling I get any time I explore a game world. A relative smallness. The limits of what I am. But what does it mean for a game to make you feel small? Does it have to be endless, or does it need structures that tower over you? Does it need to be full of giants, or could it be rather ordinary? I first identified this feeling in an unsuspecting place, while playing Kingdom Come: Deliverance II. Because you play as Henry, he's just a regular guy, but he's nothing compared to the environment in which he traverses. And in these massive game worlds where the player is necessarily defined by what they interact with, how couldn't it make you feel small? In No Man's Sky, you wake up stranded on a planet. Yes, a planet. Full of different flora and fauna and minerals and biomes. You repair your spaceship and head for the stars, and quickly you learn that the universe of No Man's Sky is, well, a universe. There are 18 quintillion systems in the game. This is what that number looks like. You could spend hours walking the circumference of just a single planet. In fact, some people have. Our own universe will surely succumb to heat death before the firmament of No Man's Sky could ever be fully explored. But a map doesn't have to be infinite to make the player feel small. In a game like Crimson Desert, the map can seem endless even though it's not. There's so much here, so many systems to learn, and so many things to see, that it's overwhelming. Red Dead Redemption 2 is no less humbling. The first time you encounter a storm, it's like a leviathan is swimming in the sky. Lightning slithers across monumental peaks and cascading valleys of columnist clouds, each jagged bolt spanning miles. Wind howls across the plains, snow clings to the mountains, forests sing with bird call, and marshes buzz with swarms of insects. This nature is so detailed that you can feel the chill in the air and the sweat on your neck. There are so many biomes here filled with so many animals that have unique behaviors. To observe them all is daunting, really. But these boundless elements also offer a sense of freedom. If you see a mountain, you can climb it. If there's a lake, you can fish in it. If there's a person, you can talk to them. You can go from city to desert. But wait, there's a giant that haunts that place. The Blackwater Massacre. An event that will loom over the Vanderlyn gang their entire lives. It's a sign of the times, really. The Wild West grows more tame by the day, manifest destiny is in full effect. The gang has found freedom between what came before and what will come after, but it can't last forever.
I'm afraid.
Gameplay can intensify these feelings. In Kingdom Come: Deliverance 2, you play as Henry, that regular guy from earlier. He has no spells, no special vision to slow down time. He can fast travel, but it's not always safe. If he takes a hit while not wearing armor, he bleeds, he gets hungry, and he's a nobody in this feudal society. He can even have a bad back if you play on hardcore mode. And speaking of hardcore mode, you have to find your own directions without knowing where you are on the map. You can ask people unless you have the Bashful perk, but still oftentimes you'll be left to your own devices. The best thing you can do is learn the world. So you know if there are farm fields, there's likely a town nearby. If there are lumberjacks or coal burners, there are forests. If you need to head east and the sun is rising, you know which direction to follow. You're tasked with getting to Trotsky Castle, a structure visible from miles away. When you finally do approach it, you see all of its auxiliary infrastructure. Towns and villages, farm fields, roads, hedges and fences. It's a whole vibrant society existing regardless of the player. And so it truly feels like these people carved out a place in this verdant nature to try and survive. Now, experiencing these hardships through gameplay makes the obstacles of the world feel even larger. Even the simplest discoveries like a graveyard become meaningful. That castle on the hill isn't just a walk away now. It's a journey, a trek, a hard-fought victory. Add to this mix the historical context, and it creates something truly unique. Trotsky Castle actually existed. Its ruins are still standing today. In fact, much of Kingdom Come's world exists as it actually did, down to the layout of towns. Red Dead is also in conversation with the past, less as a facsimile and more thematically. But this still positions the player in both history and nature in a way that few other games do. It's all weirdly humanizing.
Sorry to interrupt.
In Cyberpunk 2077, mankind has not carved out a place in nature. It has dominated nature. We see the early stages of this in something like Red Dead, but V lives in a literal mega building, its sheer size representative of its inhumanity, a thing that merely permits the existence of people. And all of Night City is like this. When wandering the streets, the alleyways can feel airless, convoluted, like you're lucky to see the sun. This place It feels like it wasn't meant for people. And it makes sense. Night City was founded by one man, Richard Knight, of course with an endless faucet of money from his megacorp backers, Arasaka, EBM, and Petrochem. It rejects the natural growth to be found in Kingdom Come, preferring corporate monuments of steel, fields of trash, mega highways, and cricket farms. It strips people of their agency and asserts itself with towering advertisements you can see from miles away. The impact of any one person may as well be grime on the concrete. There's actually a whole subgenre of games dedicated to this relationship, megastructure games, where the sheer size of the man-made is incomprehensible to a person, where this incomprehension forces people to contend with the extents of their own being. In Metal Garden, the unnatural environment is apparent, the sky capped by endless concrete. Ancient cannons and windmills line the horizon, decrepit highways span the cavernous stretches of artificial landscape. This structure is so vast that gravity changes depending on what megastrata you're on, a physical challenge for civilizations in search of heavens unbound. You'll encounter ancient bunkers and unfathomable expanses, but it's not dead. There's a stream nearby, bushes and grass and the seal. The sky might be made of stone, but clouds roll by. At one point you encounter a herd of bison, creatures that have evolved in this abnormal world. Are these beings unnatural simply because their environment is unnatural? Around their field, a mining corporation has planted explosives. While likely intended for the player, I couldn't help but worry that the bison might get too close and set one off. From a safe distance, I triggered the traps, thus preventing harm from befalling these beautiful bovines. Even in this manufactured environment, this metal garden, the natural environment is encroached upon. This relationship takes a different form in Ghost Runner. The megastructure of Dharma Tower was built as a safe haven from ecological collapse. But much like Night City, Dharma Tower is rife with inequities, controlled by digital despots, the Keymaster and the Architect, feuding amongst themselves over who gets to subjugate the tower residents. Whoever wins will forcefully augment humanity so that they may once again march across the wastelands of the outside. You play as a pawn in their game, an android, GR-74, commonly known as the Ghost Runner, an engineered weapon of man and machine. But the struggles of the people, the subsumption of the natural, it's all reflected in him. His humanity can't help but shine through. These structures dwarf the player. They dwarf the people that exist in them. They don't want to be human, but they offer contrast. The Ghost Runner is a perfect combination of code and flesh, a weapon obedient to its makers. But he has a name. Civilizations have come and gone in the megastructure of Metal Garden, all pining for an escape from this infinite concrete prison. But I still protected the bison. V has a corporate artifact stuck in her head made by a program called Soul Killer. But you can stop at Tom's Diner on Ermland Street, visit one of the many shops in Little China, help out your neighbor, or tour memorial plaques to loved ones past. Night City is brutal, but it's alive. You can't help but get lost in it all, and maybe that's why Night City legends seem larger than life.
And now they're after our souls.
In Shadow of the Colossus, Wander brings a loved one to the Forbidden Lands in hopes that she may be revived. After traversing an impossible bridge more befitting a megacity than a destitute landscape, you enter a chancel. Upon the altar you lay your deceased love and strike a deal. Mono will be revived, but first you must slay 16 colossi, creatures that look as if a chunk of the world itself crawled from the ground. Yes, of course you agree. What other answer is there? So guided by the light of your sword, you set off on your trusty steed Aggro. Upon encountering your first enemy, you realize something. You have to climb that giant. And not only this one, 15 others lie in wait, and you, a lowly swordsman, must take their lives. One David against 16 Goliaths. They're scattered all across the Forbidden Lands, from sprawling plains to dunes of sand and isolated lakes, floating in the sky and in the recesses of temples. But the Forbidden Lands are intentionally desolate, their structures remnants of something we can't quite understand. It's oddly reflective of the grief we might find ourselves in after the passing of somebody close to us. There's life there, but it's not much, and what is there is often angry. Maybe slaying these colossi is all you can do to gain some semblance of control over the world that has wronged you. Grief, after all, is the painful proof of love. In Clair Obscure Expedition 33, the imagery of the paintress is striking. She sits at the foot of a monument that reads a countdown. Each year the number decreases by 1, and the consequences are felt for all of humanity. When the number meets your age, you die. Someday when it runs out, nobody will remain. The paintress understandably inspires existential dread in the citizens of Lumiere. They build statues that will last far longer than them. They fight with their family, they don flowers, acceptance of what awaits. They debate whether or not it's right to have children. Some determined few are focused on what comes after. They've banded together, a coalition that dwindles as the years go on, to launch the expeditions to slay the paintress and end this interminable march toward death. In the face of this genocidal giantess, what other choice do they have? 67 expeditions precede you. Some have gotten closer than others, but each successive expedition stands on the shoulders of all who came before. When you arrive on the continent, you find their remnants. And not only that, artifacts of grief litter the landscape, trauma infecting every aspect of existence. And skip to the time on screen to avoid spoilers. You come to find that this world is a creation of the Descendre family, painters who might as well be gods to the people of Lumiere. Lumiere, all of these people, the continent, it all takes place inside of Verso's canvas. After he was killed in a fire, the family was left broken, so his mother, Aline, the paintress, dwelled in his canvas. This world is turned into a mausoleum of grief, mishmashed with Verso's childhood creations. A fragment of his being hangs on to maintain this place, to maintain this painted version of him created by Aline. And the gamage, this societal trauma, this everlasting sorrow enacted on all of these people, is simply a maneuver in the Descendre family drama. You find that fragment of Verso's being at the end of all things. He desperately wants to stop painting, he desperately wants to be laid to rest. But the world and the actions of this godlike family all fall upon him, and nobody can let go. It's the true horror of this place, the insignificance of this man tortured beyond death by his family, his insignificance to this world. I find a connection between Shadow of the Colossus and Clair Obscure. In both games you traverse a world that is difficult for mere mortals to understand. In both games you must slay giants. In both games, nobody can let go. And in both games, grief is manifested violently. In The Last Guardian, the relationship between giant and player is flipped on its head. You play as a nameless boy, and you wake up lost in a mysterious place. What's worse, you're not alone. There's a gargantuan chimera next to you. Fortunately, the beast is chained, but you notice he's wounded. And here, rather than slaying the giant, you help it. You come to realize that Trico too is a small creature in the nest. The nest is reminiscent of a megastructure, its true purpose long forgotten, unknowable. It's tough to maneuver in these ancient buildings, wholly different from the surroundings you're used to. You stumble over boulders, put your full weight against boxes, and barely pull rusty levers. And Trico can't fare much better, unsure of where to go and unable to reach his food source alone. Here, you and Trico are better together, able to overcome obstacles that neither would be able to surmount individually. From a gameplay perspective, Trico can be frustrating, and it makes me love him. At times he gets distracted, sometimes he's just hungry, other times he's afraid of some things without explanation. When you tell him to do something, he doesn't always understand. This is intentional, the game designers wanting Trico to behave more like a real creature than a tool. Kingdom Come and Red Dead actually use similar mechanics with horses. It's endearing, really, seeing this creature you initially feared grow and learn with you. Your bond with Trico deepens with each puzzle solved, each tower climbed, and each mystery unraveled. This bond enables both of you to escape the horrors of the nest, and to overcome the powers that lie within. For small creatures such as we, the vastness is only bearable through love. Each of the games featured here are in conversation with this sentiment in different ways. Camaraderie, grief, humanity, nature. We can lose ourselves in vast spaces, structures can extinguish us, giants can be made larger than they already are, but maybe we don't have to feel so small. I've talked about 2 of Fumito Ueda's games so far, and I'm going to briefly talk about the third. In Ico, after you've escaped the castle and the credits roll, a song plays. You were there. You were there to experience these places. You were there for the ones who needed you. The journey, the people you met along the way. That's what matters. Because you were there. And as always, thanks for watching.